Hey guys, Pastor Tanner here, coming at you with another Logos video. And in this video, I have partnered up with Logos Bible software to put together not one, not two, but three study bundles here in Logos. I am so excited to make this video and show you guys some of what we have put together. Now, in order to access these study bundles, all you have to do is go to logos.com/Pastor Tanner, all one word, and that will show you the small, medium, and large study bundle that I have put together with Logos. Now, these study bundles are similar to buying libraries where you get high bang for your buck value, and I have worked closely with the Logos team to actually specifically curate each and every one of these bundles with resources that I find to be of immense value in sermon preparation. I worked closely with the Logos Bible software team to actually put together bundles that I found to be very helpful, and I'm going to use this video to explain my logic behind why I selected the resources I did and what I value in a study bundle so that you can see if these bundles are right for you. Now, there are a few things that I really value when it comes to selecting resources in Logos Bible software. The first thing is that I am a busy pastor. I do not have the time to consult lots and lots of resources every single week. I have a lot of different things going on. And so because of that, I want resources that are actually going to give me a wide variety of viewpoints. I value collations, and I also value summaries. So you're going to see exegetical summaries in here. You're going to see things like the ancient Christian commentary sets, because to me, these are putting a lot of ideas together in one place. A second thing that I really value is value. I do not want there to be too much overlap in the resources that I'm putting together in these sets. So if I give you a good exegetical commentary, I don't want to add to that unless I think that it's really going to expand the options for you. I try to get good bang for your buck resources, and I try not to have too much overlap between them. Finally, and this is pretty unique to me, so if this isn't your cup of tea, you may not like these study bundles, especially the large option. I really like having a variety of viewpoints out there. And so I value books like the Spectrum Multi-View series, and you're going to see those in some of the later packages. Again, there are three selections here: small, medium, and large. If you were to compare these to libraries, these are roughly equivalent to silver, gold, and platinum. So those are the kinds of ideas that we're putting together here in these study bundles. First, let me show you here. If you go to logos.com/Pastor Tanner, you can see special offers for friends of Pastor Tanner, and you can see the three different bundles here partnered with Premium, Pro, and Max. And so if you just scroll down, you can look at each and every one of these bundles and you can see what they have to offer. Like I said, these are roughly equivalent to silver, gold, and platinum. And of course, the higher the bundle you get, the greater the discount you get. So there's a slightly better discount on the large bundle. So now what I would like to do is go through each of the bundles and walk through them and describe to you some of the key resources that I picked out and why I put them there so that you can see if this is right for you. First, I want to start with the small bundle. And again, this is a little bit lower in primary price point. And the reason I wanted to show you this one is because what I am targeting here are resources that are particularly curated based upon my values. So first, let's go ahead and start with translations. I try to get a wide range of translations when I study. I want formal equivalents, I want dynamic equivalents, and I have a little bit of both here for you. I've got the ESV, the CSB, but on the other end of the spectrum, I also have the NLT and even the Message. I like having a variety of translations so that you can consult them back and forth, and I find that really helps week to week. Next, I want to scroll down to study Bibles. I actually utilize study Bibles quite a bit in my own personal study. I find that they give you a good high-level overview of the text itself, and it gets you a great starting point. And so I targeted some of my favorite study Bibles here in this set. First, I love the Faith Life Study Bible. This is a top-tier study Bible, and especially when it's in the Logos ecosystem, the way it interconnects with other resources in your library is fantastic. I had to put it here. Not only that, when it comes to collations, I wanted to give you some early access to early church fathers. So even here in the small library, you have the CSB Ancient Faith Study Bible. I found this one to be really good if you don't quite have all of those resources that collate the early church fathers. This is going to be a good accessible one. Not only that, I wanted to give you some resources that I think are really valuable for crafting application and thinking through the text at a high level. I like the Life Essential Study Bible for this. This is put together by Gene Getz, and not only that, in the Logos ecosystem, there are links to videos where you can actually watch a particular video by Gene Getz on that section of scripture. I found these very valuable in in my study. I think you're going to enjoy them. I also included another hidden gem, at least for me. This is the CSB Disciples Study Bible, but here's how I use it. For me, the CSB Disciples Study Bible does a great job of putting together systematic theological topics within the text itself. So if you're studying the text, you can jump to this study Bible and you can get some broad themes that if you want to expand theologically in your sermon or your lesson, you're going to be able to do that quite easily. Finally, though it's not technically considered a study Bible, I put the NET Bible in here as well. If you look in the notes of the NET translation, they give you some of the best, most concise translation notes that you'll find, and I wanted to have that addition here along with these study Bibles. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the commentaries for the small study bundle. I want to start off with the Summarized Bible. This is one you may not know very much about, but I find that the 1 or 2 paragraphs that the Summarized Bible puts together for each chapter of the Bible is really helpful. It helps me jump right in, get a good sense of the text and what matters right off the bat. I like to consult this resource pretty early in my preparation process. Not only that, I asked to include the Preacher's Outline and Sermon Bible. I find that this resource offers the best outlines in Logos Bible software, and so for outlining the text and getting a good exegetical outline, I love this resource. I'm really glad we could get it in at the small level. Not only that, I want you to have a good single volume commentary. I like the New Bible Commentary, and just consulting this resource again is going to help you as you move from the summary, the outline. Now you're moving into some commentary, but it's not too in-depth. It's going to give you that broad overview. Once you get the broad overview, you want to start digging into the text. And so I've offered 2 resources that I think are really helpful for this. First, I love the New Testament Text and Translation Commentary by Philip Comfort, and this one I think is going to give you most of what you need stepping into the pulpit when it comes to textual criticism. And then not only that, I wanted to give you a good commentary. We included the Tyndale New Testament and Tyndale Old Testament commentary set. I personally find Tyndale to be one of the highest value commentary sets out there. It's got a good general purpose commentary to it, and we were able to include it at the small level with all these other resources because of the value it offers. All right, let's go ahead and move on to dictionaries and encyclopedias. I find the Treasury of Scripture Knowledge to be very, very helpful when it comes to finding cross-references. There are plenty of resources out there that have cross-references in them, but I find that the Treasury of Scripture Knowledge in particular has a lot of them, and so this is often my one-stop shop. Not only that, but I've included the IVP Pocket Reference Series. These are a lot of small individual dictionaries or encyclopedias, but I find even with a larger library, I keep coming back to these resources over and over again because they're relatively concise and have good information. A somewhat unique resource is the Dictionary of Biblical Imagery. I wanted to make sure that we included that because I think that it has some very unique comments on the topics that it covers. And in addition to these, we just included some very good one-volume dictionaries for you to consult as well. Now, I told you that my target audience is the busy pastor, preacher, or teacher, and so I wanted to include some preaching resources as well. There are several monographs here with a variety of treatments of preaching in general. And then also we have CM 104 here. This is a mobile ed course put together by Logos on preaching that I think you're going to like. However, there are 2 specialty resources here that I want to highlight that I included. And this is again for the preacher who's looking for good quotes when it comes to their sermons. These resources are the Complete Gathered Gold by John Blanchard and the Preacher's Notebook put together by John Stott. If you peruse these resources topically, you are going to find some great quotes for almost any sermon you are preaching. All right, moving on to lexicons and original languages. I want you to know that week to week, as a busy pastor, I don't go very deep into the original languages. So if that's your focus, my study bundles may not be for you, or you may want to go up higher in the study bundles where we include some more original language resources. However, I have carefully selected some original language resources for you I think you're going to like. First of all, I find that DBL, the Dictionary of Biblical Languages, is actually really handy in both the Hebrew and the Greek. It's very accessible, and so I wanted to include it here as your first go-to. However, if you want to go a little bit deeper than DBL, you might want Liddell Scott Jones, or you might want Brown Driver Briggs for the Greek or the Hebrew, and so I included both of these. These are not necessarily considered the top tier when it comes to lexicons, but they're pretty high up there, and again, the value proposition I think is there for the vast majority of preachers and teachers. Not only that, but I wanted to get you the abridged Kittle Theological Dictionary of the New Testament. I think the abridged version gives you a lot that you can take with you into the pulpit when it comes to deeper study of the theological terms. And guys, I want to show you a resource that I was able to sneak here into the small bundle. I'm so excited about this one. This one is the Old Testament Hebrew English Dictionary and the New Testament Greek English Dictionary that is taken from the CBL, the Complete Biblical Library. Now, I think our small study bundle is one of the cheapest bundles you can get this resource in, and I absolutely love it. It treats the individual words at a very high level, and it covers all sorts of different things that I think you're really going to enjoy. It's got basic definitions, but not only that, it's got a bit of a concordance in there with many different verses. It's just a really nice resource. It's my favorite resource inside of the complete biblical library, and I'm so excited that I was able to work with Logos to get this split off and included in the small study bundle. Okay, so that's our small study bundle. Now, why would you jump up to the medium level? I want you to know that I think the medium level is right for you if you liked what you were seeing in the small, but you thought we were a little thin at the commentaries. Here we try to beef up the commentaries and really round out the set. First, I want to highlight those collations that I was referencing, the bringing together of a lot of different comments, especially from early church fathers or reformers on particular verses. A little hidden resource that I like at this point is Robertson Nichols' Sermon Outline Bible, 12 volumes. I think he does a great job of grabbing comments from godly men down through the ages and putting them together. It's an old resource, but it's a goodie. I really enjoy referencing this one. Another somewhat older collation is the Catena Aria. I love this one, and it puts together a lot of early church father quotes, and again, very, very accessible. But I also wanted to get more in-depth collations, and this is where the ACCS, the Ancient Christian Commentary on the Scriptures, and the RCS, the Reformation Commentary on the Scriptures, comes into play. These resources take comments from either reformers or early church fathers, put them all together on individual verses, and again, as you dig and sift through these, you're going to find some great quotations and great information for your sermon or lesson. But it's not only collations we focused on at this level. Not only that, we actually put together some serious exegetical resources for you as well. First of all, you guys know I love the SIL Exegetical Summary Series. This puts together the high-level ideas that are actually highlighted by each of the commentaries out there so you can see what the various positions are at a glance. Do you want to dig more in depth and do some exegesis alongside your Tyndale set? Well, here we have Pillar and we have Apollos. For the New Testament and the Old Testament both, you get to dig a little bit deeper into the text itself. All right, we've got our collations, we've got our exegesis. Now what else can we add? Well, here's where I really like Bible background commentaries and information. And so we've got the Bible knowledge and the Bible background commentaries. In my opinion, these are really valuable because they're some of the only resources that actually give you that background material and information that you're looking for. Finally, I think the busy preacher wants to have some sort of resources to help them include application in their sermon. And so because of that, we've included the Life Application Bible Commentary. I have found this set to be very helpful in the past. All right, like I said, the majority of the value in this set is tied up in the commentaries, but we did add a couple other resources. Dictionaries and encyclopedias. We added the Outline Bible. I find this one very helpful as another resource to consult on helping you to get good outlines of the text itself. And also, if you want a little bit deeper, in-depth treatment when it comes to dictionaries and encyclopedias, we added ISBE, the 1915 edition. And again, that's for value purposes. I think you're going to be able to consult this resource and go in-depth where maybe some of your other dictionaries and encyclopedias don't quite go as far. When it comes to preaching and teaching resources, there are many more monographs here that I found very helpful, so we've included many of those. And also a few new courses, including Brian Chappell. I learned from Brian Chappell how to preach and teach from his Christ-centered sermon series, and so we have a couple of his classes here put together with Logos that I think you're going to like. Finally, I've always enjoyed reading sermons myself, and to me, there's no one better than Charles Spurgeon, so we've included Charles Spurgeon New Park Street Pulpit Series. These are 6 volumes, lots of good sermons in there. And not only that, I also really like Alexander McLaren. I like his preaching style. His sermons tend to be a little bit shorter, which I enjoy, and so we've included Alexander McLaren's expositions of the Holy Scripture. All right, the Medium Bundle also beefs up your original languages. So here we've got Louw-Nida, which I think is a good medium pit stop when it comes to, seriously digging into the lexical material. But we also tried to dive a little bit deeper. Here we've got BDAG 3rd edition. This is considered the granddaddy when it comes to Greek lexicons, and now we have it available in the medium package. On the Hebrew side, we've added Klein's Concise Dictionary of Classical Hebrew. I think it rounds out what you have thus far in Hebrew pretty well. And also, I really like the Theological Wordbook of the Old Testament, put out by Moody, Gleason Archer. This resource was not available in Logos for some time. I was so happy when it was added, and I still consult it pretty regularly. Finally, guys, at the medium level, I love to consult the Septuagint when I can, and we had Ralph's interlinears added at this point. These are still ones that I regularly consult. All right, let's round out our tour here with the large study bundle. What are you getting for your additional money? Here, I tried to really make the set valuable for you. This is the set you're looking for if you want even more exegetical depth, or you want to dig into those resources where there are a variety of viewpoints that I indicated at the beginning I really appreciate. So when it comes to commentaries, we've added the Exegetical Guide to the Greek New Testament. These are really good original language commentaries, in-depth exegesis, and we've also added the NICOT and the NICNT as well. These are just fantastic sets, some of the top in the field. I think you're going to really enjoy having them in addition to Pillar, etc. I also wanted to continue to include some early church fathers here, so we have some various commentaries coming from the Ancient Christian Text series, which are in various books of the Bible. I think you might like consulting these. And then finally, on the application front, I've always liked David Guzik, and so we went ahead and included David Guzik at this level as well to supplement your life application series. When it comes to dictionaries and encyclopedias, we didn't add any additional here. I think you're well served with what you get in the Medium, and I wanted to put your value elsewhere. For preaching and teaching resources, we've added Brian Chappell's third course on advanced techniques that I think you're really going to like. That kind of rounds out the whole set. And we've also added the rest of Spurgeon. So you're getting the Metropolitan Tabernacle pulpit here in addition to the new Park Street pulpit. I think you'll really enjoy this series. Lexicons and original languages, what did we add? Well, we added the NA28, all right? I really like referencing the Nestle Aland. If you come from this tradition in terms of textual criticism, you're going to like this resource. And of course, something that is very unique to my approach is I love having different perspectives, these 5 views books, etc. And so we included the Spectrum multi-view books, and we included the B&H academic perspective series as well. So you're going to get lots of different books here to reference that give you various ideas or perspectives on theological topics. All right, guys, what do you think of my selections? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm very curious to see if you thought we put together some good sets here or if you think they're a hard pass. I know I have a particular audience I'm aiming for, but these are some of the resources that even having a very large Logos library, I keep coming back to time and time again, and I was so pleased to be able to work with Logos to get you them at the steepest discount you possibly can here in these collections. Finally, guys, please stay tuned for more videos. I intend to do videos on sermon preparation for each of the study bundles. What would it look like for you to prepare a sermon if you only had the small study bundle? What about the medium? What about the large? I would love to put together some videos like that so you can see what it looks like to prepare great sermons using these resources alone. All right, thank you everybody for tuning into this video and watching to the end. I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for supporting us here at the Pastor Tanner YouTube channel. Please consider utilizing my affiliate link down below if you're going to purchase anything with Logos Bible software. I get a small commission, and please look out for us real soon as we continue to put together some videos for you. All right, take care. God bless. Bye.